So we've talked about some of these learning strategies. Let's talk about how we can apply them and bring them into the real world. So, and can be kind of difficult, and because you have to learn how to apply them, you can't just learn how to use them. And sometimes, people may not choose great learning strategies, and so you always want to have appropriate tasks. You want to value what you're doing, and to find strategies that are worth the time and seem to be effective. Now, I kind of disagree that I think if memorization is the only goal. Now, I see memorization as more a building block for higher order learning, but that's just kind of a difference. So having good goals and clear goals in your studying, be familiar with what you're doing and how it's organized. Know your own cognitive skills and use them effectively. Manage your time, and study topics and do it in the right way that sets up for what you're going to do on the task. And don't just focus on the easy stuff. The difficult stuff is important too, and students do that a lot, is they just focus on what's easy. But let's look back at these top 10 study strategies and see what's effective. And this is based on research in psychology, looks at where people do experiments about, okay, you study this way and you study this way, and let's see which one works better. They're very rigorous about their study method research. So what about reading? Is that good? Well, turns out rereading is not a very effective strategy. You're probably better off doing something else. And even though that's the most popular one that anybody does. Practice problems? Sometimes. That sideways thumb is kind of a maybe sometimes. Those practice problems can be really helpful if they are well mapped onto what the test is going to be, and if you're in a class where that could be done. Flashcards. Actually, flashcards are a really good study strategy and have been found to be very effective in most research. Rewriting your notes? Not so much. A lot of times people just focus on writing, and especially all they're doing is just looking at it and writing it again. If you try to do it by memory, then it might be a little bit better. Group studying, a lot of people use groups. Research usually shows that is not as effective. People are distracting, and people tend to get more social and not actually get as much work done when you're studying with a group. And the rest of the top 10, mnemonics? Kind of. If it's that kind of class, if that's the kind of learning that you need, those mnemonics can be helpful and effective. Making outlines? It's kind of the same thing. Can kind of depend. Some people make better outlines than others. Self-testing? Very effective. A very good way. So, build yourself some kind of a practice test and work on it. And try to model and just practice what you're going to actually be doing. Highlighting, kind of already mentioned this. Not really a good strategy. Doesn't seem to work well. Thinking of real life examples. Sometimes. Kind of depends on how close those examples are to reality. People can have incorrect real life examples. So those are the top 10. Let's look at a couple others. These are fairly common from this other research study. Scheduling based on impending deadlines. That's not a very good idea. You need to space out your studying, not just based on what's due next, but based on, okay, I haven't looked at this in a while, I need to look at this again, and schedule it out better to where you distribute it and you have space in between study sessions. Planning out when you will study is a very good idea. So schedule it out and kind of figure out when you're going to do it so that you won't wonder, gosh, when am I going to study for this test? Oh, there's my schedule. I know right here. Another one doesn't work, works sometimes is cramming. I know just about everybody does it, but cramming can work just for a little while. And so if you want to remember it long term, if you're going to ever see it again, which you probably will, cramming is a bad strategy, and also tends to lead to what's called illusions of knowing. So you think you know something when in reality you don't. And that can be a big problem with cramming. There's other strategies that are talked about, especially so this one's about metacognition, which includes things like monitoring your studying, looking at where and when you want to study. And this is an important thing, actually, that, for some of these strategies, you will admit maybe that no one's ever taught you how to learn or what kind of study strategies work well. And that's why I go through some of those in this video. Well, it would be good for younger kids to know this, so when they get to be in college and when they get to be older students, that they will continue and to know how to learn effectively, and they will be able to make better grades as they get older and be more effective and spend their time better. So those are really important, and I think can be really life-changing for your student career to really learn how to study well. Hopefully you'll learn some of those things more and more in this class as we go along. But we're going to talk about problem solving in the next couple of videos.